Welcome back to the show, fam. I just got home from speaking at an event for one of my dear friends, Jill Coleman, and I was looking around the room. This is her elite mastermind. I'm looking around the room and I'm like, gosh, the women in this room are all doing multiple six figures in business. And I'm looking around, and my sister-in-law was with me, and she was coming to film some content for me behind the scenes. And when we left, she said exactly what I was thinking. And she said, gosh, it was so crazy just to see how the women in this room who have these big businesses, who have these big dreams, who are doing all this big stuff, making global impact and making crazy amounts of money, they're just like normal women. And I kind of giggled when she said it, and she kind of backpedaled and was like, not that I expected them to like look a certain way or dress or act a certain way. She's like, but I just can't believe how expansive like being in that room was to look around and say, wow, these people are no different than you listening, no different than me talking right now, right? And what I realized is you are included because you're listening to this podcast episode right now. We are not normal. We're not normal. Those of us who are going after big dreams, even if you're still working in a 9 to 5 job, you might love your 9 to 5 job, or it might be the safety net right now. It might be the thing that's paying the bills while you're figuring it out. You might have no dream of leaving your job, but whether you do or don't, that doesn't matter. When you're doing the work, when you're listening to a show like this, when you're showing up and you're posting on social media and you're putting your life out there and you're sharing your teachings and learnings from the lived experience that you've had, when you're a service provider, when you want to be a coach, the entrepreneurs that are listening, the online business owners, like we are not normal. There is a moment in our life, and I can't necessarily pinpoint mine. I try to all the time, but there was a moment in my life where I just decided that I didn't want it to, I wanted to take the road less traveled. Like I didn't want to do the status quo. And if I think back and I try to think of like, where was this stemming from, rooting from? My parents were not entrepreneurs. I had no one in the family that was an entrepreneur. So it's not like I saw that. And it really has nothing to do with entrepreneurship and has everything to do with personal development. But from day one, I like being a little kiddo. I wanted an extraordinary life. And I had an extraordinary life. I'm very grateful and humbled to say that like I had a great upbringing and maybe that equated to it, right? I think sometimes it's like what we don't have, we want, but then also sometimes what we do have is what we then expect. And so I've always had this high expectation of myself to create this non-status quo type of life. And if you're listening, you do too. This is like the 1% stuff. I'm not talking about the 1% of income, right? The 1% of revenue producers. It's like you're the 1%. You're willing to do what it takes. You're willing to do what other people just aren't willing to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're not like shitting on them, right? We're not like poo-pooing them. But when you are different, when you are not normal, when you don't want to live the status quo life, there is a level of action that we get to take, right? But it's required of us. We have to take this action. It's making big moves. It's saying it like it is. It's being audacious. It's being bold. It's going first. It's raising your hand and saying, I don't understand. I don't know. It's saying, I need help. It's removing your ego. It's all of this stuff. And so this episode really is just a riff on if you are looking to increase your income, if you want to blow up your business, blow up in a good way, like you want to explode your business, you want to make more impact, you want to make more money, then I want you to remember that what you actually need to do is strengthen everything behind the scenes. Strengthen your emotional intelligence. Strengthen your ability to hold more. Clients always say to me, like when they're launching their programs for the first time, they'll get really disappointed sometimes because they're like, I wanted 10, right? Like I wanted 10 sales. I almost like deserved 5. The amount of work doesn't feel like it's equaling the amount of results. It's like the effort and the results all of a sudden don't match in their head. And there's this disappointment there. But being able to hold both, it's kind of like when, there's a death in the family, it's like you can have grief and gratitude in the same room. Both emotions can live in your body at the same time. We can be so grateful for the time that we had with this person while equally being so sad that they're gone. You have to be able to hold it all, and your business will only grow to the extent and capacity in which you're able to hold it all. And so I tell clients all the time, like, you were not ready for that amount. You're not ready for that amount of money, that amount of clients, that amount of invitations, speaking on stages, right? We get to up level ourselves to be able to hold more. I heard my dear friend Lori one time, I think this was on a podcast or something. She shared this kind of hyperbole, I guess you could say, of glass blowing, which I have gone glass blowing multiple times. I love glass blowing. And she tells this story about this like little vase or vase, depending on how you say it. And it's this little glass vase, and the little glass vase wants to get bigger. So it says to the glass blower, like, I see all these vases that are bigger than me. I want to get bigger. Like, how can you make me bigger? And the glass blower says, it is possible, but in order for me to make you bigger, I actually have to heat you back up. I have to put you back in the fire. And if you know anything about glass blowing, this is true. I have to put you back in the fire to heat you back up to a point that you're then flexible, that you're malleable, that you're adaptable, so that I can then manipulate your shape and function so that I can make you bigger, so I can stretch you, so I can pull you, so I can expand you. We have to go back into the fire. This is the challenges and the wobbles and the missteps and all that stuff that comes up, the results that you didn't want, right? Like all of that, the difficult conversations, the team member that leaves unexpectedly, the client who defaults on a payment, the troll that hits you on something that you put out on social media, the lack of engagement on a post that you worked really hard on, right? So your ability to hold it all and to expand how much you can hold it is directly correlated to detaching from the outcome. How detached from the outcome could you be? How in love with the process can you be? You're not normal. You're living the 1% life. You're doing the 1% things. And that requires you to continue to do that work, right? That work behind the scenes of, okay, this might not be easy right now. This might not have gone the way that I wanted or anticipated, but I know that I'm learning something from it. I'm going to strengthen myself behind the scenes. I'm going to be able to hold more. I'm going to detach from the outcome. I'm going to trust. There's a level of trust that we really have to find. I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to trust that it's unfolding as it should. And heck, I'm going to celebrate everything along the way. Like, I don't care about the milestones. I care about who I'm becoming. The doing is the destination. We get one shot at this life, one shot. And so we're all rushing to the finish line. We're all rushing to the next milestone. But what we often forget is that the present is the present, like literally the gift, right? The present is the gift. This present moment is all that we have. And so the faster you can detach from not just the outcome, but the external validation that you are looking for from awards, accolades, clients, likes, money, revenue, followers, fame, whatever that would be, the quicker you'll be able to actually get there because you realize that there is just here. But if you're always attached to the I'll be happy when, I'll invest in myself when, I'll purchase the course when, I'll launch my stuff when, fill in the blank, right? When I make X amount of money, when I have X amount of followers, when X amount of clients buy from me, when it's fall, when it's the next season, when I'm out of this crazy season of life. If that's how you're living, if you're allowing external things to dictate both the actions that you take, but also the validation that you feel, then you're never going to make it because you're always going to quit. You're always going to fall short. You're always going to push it off. You're going to continue to move that milestone, to move that finish line. You're not normal. That's what this episode's about. You've never been normal. I've never been normal. I don't even know what normal is. I don't want a normal status quo mediocre life. So I know that if I don't want a mediocre status quo type of life, that's going to require me to do non-status quo, non-mediocre type of actions. The trust and the knowing and the putting myself first and the making moves before I see the results. We talk about this all the time at DBE, but it's like, are you waiting for the result to make a move? Are you allowing the result to dictate the action that you're taking? Okay, imagine this, and I'm going to leave you with this. It's a super short episode. Imagine if every day you woke up and you looked at your body, and depending on how your body looked, if it looked tighter, thinner, more muscly, more toned, If you looked at your body and you allowed what it looked like to determine whether or not you went to the gym, would you ever actually get to the result that you want? Because if you're anything like me, I've been working out my entire life. My body does not just change every single day. It takes years to put on muscle. It takes months to burn off fat. It takes months, years, weeks to change the composition of your body. So imagine if we and we don't even notice the differences half the time because we live in it. We're there every day. So imagine every day I wake up and you look down and you say, well, nothing's changed. I guess I won't go today. Well, if you continuously compound, I guess I won't go today. I guess I won't go today. I guess I won't go today. Well, obviously, then you're never going to make it there. You're never going to, and I don't mean make it there to the gym. I mean, make it there to your goal. You're obviously never going to reach that goal. And at a point, you'll likely just quit because it's so disempowering. It's so frustrating. So some of us are taking that approach to business. We're waiting for the result before we take the action. When a client pays me, I'll invest in a mentor. What? When I get more followers, then I'll launch my program. How does that make sense? When my email list is X, then I'll do Y. When my blah, blah, blah is blah, then I'll do blah, blah, blah. That is not what we do. That is not what we do as the 1%. We go first. We're audacious. We make the moves. There's a level of trust. It's a decision that you've made. And if the decision has been that you want the extraordinary life, you want the big business with the big impact, and I don't mean big as in like corporation with all these people that you're paying and you have to have a team, right? But if you're making the decision and you're saying that this is what you want, are your actions equating to what you're saying? Like, do your actions and your words equal each other? Or are you just saying it and you're not really following up with it? That's all I have to say today. That's it. That's all I have for you. Let it be a reminder. Let it be like just a fire in your tush or something. Celebrate everything along the way. Screw the milestone. Detach from the outcome. Learn how you can fall in love with the process because this is it. The process is it. And I want you to remember, if you can stay consistent with the process through the ups, through the downs, then eventually you'll likely hit those milestones. But as you do, you're no longer the person that you were before. And so those likely aren't even the goals that you want anymore. And so then you're probably just going to create new milestones and new goals. And such is why I want you just to fall in love with the process, because it's about who you're becoming. The process is about who you're becoming, not what you do, not how much money you make, not even how many people you help. It's who are you becoming along the way. I see you. I love you. I'm proud of you. And I want you to keep on moving. Cheers to your evolution. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.